who simply decides to blow their fan in their freaking apartment when it's 62 degrees and freaking humid, cold weather, rainy, damp weather? Oh, that's right, it's this guy right here that's recording this podcast right now, to say the least. Anyways, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Cedesxcyrus on YouTube and all audio platforms of Cedesxcyrus Show. Which is Monday edition of Cedesxcyrus Show for your Monday, June 22nd, 2026. Yeah, I'm kind of freaking hot right now, that's why I'm doing this. I'm having the fan in the background, it's supposed to be 62 degrees and damp weather. So I was just working around my apartment in the Salies. As always, follow me on social media, Cedesxcyrus on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Watching today's podcast on the YouTube channel, hit the like button. Today's episode of Cedesxcyrus Show, obviously. Hit the subscribe button, you've done so already. And turn on the bell for upload notifications so you don't miss an upload for our YouTube channel. And always feel free to leave a comment as well. Again, my Cedesxcyrus Show for your Monday, June 22nd, 2026. So always watch on Spotify, do the same thing, leave a comment. And also a 5-star rating would be very nice as well, to say the least. And by the way, I decided to put the Cedesxcyrus Show on basically weekdays, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But also, a Cedesxcyrus weekly podcast for the weekend, like either Saturday or Sunday. In this case, probably Sunday. You know, it's probably not going to be on a Sunday until the NFL season starts, unless some like PLE happens in between Saturday and stuff and Sunday. So stay tuned for that, to say at least. And by the way, these Cedesxcyrus shows your Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, all wrestling. But the weekend podcast, or the Cedesxcyrus weekly podcast, we all sports, wrestling, and pop culture. So stay tuned to that for that, to say the least. As always, on today's podcast, man. I'm recording this right today, 30 minutes after Monday Night Raw this week. I'm discussing on the Wednesday episode of Cedesxcyrus Show. You know, that show was okay for the most part. I mean, I like the Chad Gable segment, Matt Alpha Academy, Maxine Dupree. Believe it or not, I'm not a Maxine Dupree fan by any means necessary. I gotta be honest, I gotta give her flowers to that segment though. She actually put a pretty good segment there, if you ask me. Anyways, we're gonna discuss that on Wednesday though. Because for your Friday, or Friday, today's Monday, Lucas, what are you talking about Friday? Well, obviously we're talking about Friday, so over Friday Night Suckdown, June 19, 2026 review. We're discussing that. Also, in U.S. Bank Stadium roof issue not expected to impact WWE SummerSlam 2026. We're discussing that. Also, Monday Night Raw event in Charlotte, North Carolina pushed into 2027 and changed to a Smackdown event if anyone freaking cares, but still. We're also going to be discussing TNA, parent company allegedly seeking up to a $50 million potential sale. We'll be discussing that. Also, Tessa Blanchard was let out of her TNA deal halfway through her current contract. We'll be discussing that. Also, AEW Forbidden Door plans not locked in for some talent days before the show. It's very interesting if you ask me. And also discussing FTR stepping away from professional wrestling, quote unquote. You know, let me give my opinion why I don't think they're stepping away yet. Maybe just temporarily breaking stuff like that. And also some this day and wrestling history as well. As always, thank y'all for watching your Cedesxcyrus Show, maybe his other connotation Monday edition of Cedesxcyrus Show. For Monday, June 22nd, 2026, on YouTube, Cedesxcyrus, and all audio platforms of Cedesxcyrus Show. Let's get on today's podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Starting with, you guess, your WWE Friday Night Absolute Suckdown. Friday Night Smackdown. June 19, 2026 review. This show, man, what do I got to say? There's not one single promo discussed in this week's episode of your Friday Night Smackdown review. Not one single fucking promo, dude. Got some backstage segments, and we got some like filler segments with Danhausen stealing Dominic Mysterio's money. Quote unquote, but that's not Raw, but still, you can get the point, obviously. But starting with, you guessed it, Cody Rhodes. Reigning defending undisputed WWE Champion defeats Gunther to retain the undisputed WWE Championship thanks to Sami Zayn, basically costing Gunther the match. Obviously being the special guest referee and stuff like that. This, my friends, is a big fat C. Then we get shenanigans with Cody and Gunther and the referee getting involved in this match. Another referee getting involved in this match, nonetheless. Like, this show is fucking boring. This show is boring. What do you want me to say, bro? This show is fucking boring. And this starts your show? Not at all either. Sorry if you hear like a beeping horn outside my apartment. I don't know if it's outside my apartment, my neighbor's next door. I'm not totally sure. Sorry about that. But holy shit, man. What do I got to say? Just to be undisputed WWE Championship run, or reign, or seen right now on Friday Night Smackdown is boring. Nothing can get me to care about this shit. And probably like again, Cody Rhodes defend this championship against King of the Runner and Jey Uso. Wouldn't that be fucking terrible? What's wrong gonna happen? You probably get Brock Lesnar make a return at Night Champions to cause probably overfilming the match. You probably can get that. And hear freaking sirens outside my apartment. What else is fucking new, brother? I'm not in the mood to freaking just yelling, honestly. But this shit is just boring. Boring. Seriously. What is there to care about? Like Cody, Gunther, and Sammy at Night Champions? Oh, so cool. You know what? Make some unpredictability. Put the title on Sami Zayn. Might as well. You might as well, dude. What is there to lose? Well, you can do Sammy and Jey Uso for it to be championship at SummerSlam. That sounds like a terrible matchup. At least it's something sort of better than Cody and Jey to a point. At least there's a history with Cody and or Sammy and Jey, honestly, but still. I don't think I ever want Jey Uso to challenge for any championship in the singles division, honestly. This shit is boring. Big fat C. Alright, Damian Priest and R-Truth reign and defend WWE Tag Team Champions. Defeat the MFTs to retain the WWE Tag Team Championships. Another big fat C. Ah, man. You go from that to WWE Championship scene to the MFTs vortex with R-Truth and Damian Priest. Oh man, I had no words to the show. I would yell, but I'm not in no mood to freaking yell. I really am not. I'm really not, bro. I am really not. This show is just a drizzling freaking shits. It really is. It really is a drizzling freaking shits. When you get from the bullshit we got the open segment with Cody, Gunther, and Sammy, to the MFTs and R-Truth and Damian Priest, like, who the fuck cares, dude? Who the fuck cares? A big fat C. Not saying Raw is better this week, but still. Raw with the Chad Gable segment, that's about basically it on that show. That's about it. And probably Street Profits winning the World Tag Team titles, it was a nice moment for them, but still. Can't even seem to care about the World Tag Team titles, honestly. Can't even care about these Tag Team titles at all either, bro. Not joking. Not joking when I say that. By far the best thing on the show, Ricky Sainz defeats Carmelo Hayes. Been the best thing on this show for a while now, honestly. Is Carmelo Hayes with the more United States Championship divisions, like. Ricky Sainz defeats Carmelo Hayes to become the #1 contender for the WWE Men's United States Championship at United Champions. This gets a beat, man. This is another banger match between these two guys. I feel like every time I get to talk about Ricky Sainz and Carmelo Hayes, segment with Trick Williams or a match standpoint, Dean Sainz and Hayes, it's always just a B or sometimes better. It's been the best thing on this show. It has been. It has been, bro. When you look in the face and you see it's the same, the better up things on Friday Night SmackDown. The only good thing on Friday Night SmackDown. This man missed the United States Championship and Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes and Ricky Sainz. Now again, Ricky Sainz and Carmelo and Trick Williams ain't United Champions. Ricky Sainz makes his United Champions card in PLEs. That's freaking kind of huge for him, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, we get 6 matches at the PLE this Saturday. And also, I forgot to mention this. Speaking of the United States title, Tiffany Stratton, the Women's United States Champion. It's finally on PLE, people. The first time ever the Women's United States Championship. I've been defending a premium live event. Granted, it's in the main event level 2 level women main eventers in Jade Cargill and Tiffany Stratton. But hey, I'll take anything for that title. I'll take anything at that rate for that championship. Anyways, this match gets a beat to say at least. Like Ricky Sainz win this match, maybe at SummerSlam. Either Ricky Sainz, Carmelo Hayes, maybe even Trick Williams match for Men's United States Championship. Or maybe just Carmelo Hayes and Ricky and Trick Williams 1-on-1. That'd be kind of interesting too if you ask me. But this gets a beat. Oh my god, here we go with Jey Uso Vortex, people. Here we go. Jey Uso defeats Javon Evans in the second round of the King of the Ring tournament, going to the finals to take on Oba Femi. A big fat C. Fine match. I hate the outcome, obviously. How can you look in this game? How can you not see Jey Uso not win the King of the Ring, people? Over Oba Femi. Like, you're probably getting Oba Femi losing to Jey fucking Uso. Granted, you're former Royal Rumble winner, former World Heavyweight Champion, I get that. But holy shit, bro. We're gonna get one half of realistically a tag team guy in the main event of SummerSlam, people, against Cody Rhodes. God help us all if that's the case. I don't think Jey is probably not winning the championship. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but the thing is, the possibility of that happening, that's the sad part, people. That's the problem. You should not be going after any singles titles, not just the world championships. He's a tag team guy for a reason, dude. He should not, and I mean should not, be a world champion or a singles champion ever again. This shit is fucking boring. I am tired of the Bloodline Vortex on both Monday nights, or Monday afternoon for this week, and Friday Night Smackdown. Tired of it. We go Smackdown, we get the MFTs or more OG Bloodline. You're always still the OG Bloodline as it is. Unbelievable. Big fat C. On to your main event. Liv Morgan defeats Charlotte Flair in the main event in the second round of the Queen of the Ring in the main event. This gets a C+. I like the match was okay, but it was pretty good for the most part. You know, one-legged shot. I thought I got taken out backstage by Jade Cargill, meeting him and B-Fab. That was like, you got like here we go, Liv Morgan's gonna lose, like, beat Charlotte Flair. I saw the spoilers before the show even started. I'm like, oh god, they are really gonna do this shit, aren't they? And lo and behold, they did. I love Liv Morgan. I spent this on a YouTube short and Instagram reel and TikTok today. I'm a huge supporter of Liv Morgan. She's a talented woman. Gorgeous woman, obviously, too. But holy shit, why does she need to be in the finals of the Queen of the Ring as the WWE Women's World Champion? And like she don't make card champion, she is the Women's World Champion on Monday Night Raw. Why is she in the finals of the tournament to become a number one contender for a world championship? Oh wait, because she was going to fight the Rhea Ripley's championship? Like, anyone believes anyone's going to believe Liv's going to win that championship. And you know she's a main event level appeal, obviously, and I like that for her. I love that for her. Well, first of all, I don't need to see a Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley match in a long time, if not ever. The last time these two have matches when Raw debuted on Netflix, it was a fine match, but I was tired of that match, this whole feud. It got so downhill to the point where I didn't want to freaking care for the payoff anymore. It was so bad. Now we're going right back to potentially a Liv and Rhea match at SummerSlam. What, for Rhea to only win anyways? What is the point of that, dude? Either give Io Sky the Queen of the Ring or just don't even bother anymore. Don't even bother. And plus, Io got the upper hand in tonight's episode of Raw. We're discussing on Wednesday. Or it's this afternoon's Raw, if you ask me, whatever. So it scares the shit out of me how Liv's going to win the Queen of the Ring. not saying Liv cannot win a Queen ring ever in her career. I love that for her, but I don't think win a Royal Rumble and a Queen ring in 1 year would be kind of overkill, don't you think? But still. But I'm a huge Liv fan. I love Liv Morgan to death, dude. But if Io Sky does not win this match, this company is creatively fucking bankrupt even more so. Creatively, obviously. And this C+ gets a C+ for me. It's not a bad match. Not the best at all, but still gets a C+. Shiro Sugar for my stuff right now. Absolute Suckdown. June 19, 2026 is a C+. And that is your WWE Friday Night Suckdown. June 19, 2026 review and today's episode of Cedesxcyrus to say the least. We're on some wrestling news. US Bank Stadium, home of the Minnesota Vikings, obviously. Or the Frog Gangs, like they call them. NFL, obviously. Roof issue not expected to impact WWE SummerSlam 2026. There's a story on a Minnesota Star Tribune which notes that the roof of US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota, the home of WWE SummerSlam and Minnesota Vikings, needs to be replaced. Hail damage is forcing the stadium owners to repair a sizable portion of the roof. It has been damaged since August of 2023, obviously, which is what I find weird to come out now. They're worried about it now, but still. An engineering, I can't freaking speak, firm determined that the damage does not affect the roof's structural performance or safety. The following statement from the Minnesota Sports Facilities Authority, and quote, all Minnesotans, I guess how you say that, or Minnesotans, I guess how you say that, I would say, can be confident in the roof at the US Bank Stadium is safe, that proactive steps are in place to preserve its unique environment, and the MSFA's financial safeguards have protected this public investment. Rest of us known as the source relaying to them that relate to them that the issue is not expected to impact SummerSlam in any way. WWE has been informed by the city officials that the roof remains structurally safe, end quote. It's great to hear that, obviously. You want to impact anything to do with SummerSlam. It's going to be a big show. It's the second biggest thing of the year for both WWE. Or be professional wrestling, count up between that or all in, but you know. But honestly, it remains to be seen what else WWE will be doing. If it was looking to make a change, but obviously it's not going to happen, obviously. There's no way you're going to change SummerSlam because of the freaking roof not working, but the roof is probably just fine, to say the least. That's my thoughts on this story, though, if you ask me to say the least. Moving on to TNA's parent company allegedly seeking up for $950 million for a potential sale. According to sports journalist Blake, I'm going to butcher this name, Avagon, Anthem president Lean Esper has set a $30 million floor for potential TNA sale. The preferred number is even higher, landing somewhere up into $40 million to $50 million per range. System quote sources, Anthem's Len Esper has set a $30 million floor for a potential sale of this to TNA at TNA, obviously, with his preferred price at over $40 million to $50 million range. The premium reflects on toxic debit on Anthem's book, and any buyer would be expected to absorb. No deal was imminent, but the number is out there, end quote. Now, to think the sale of TNA happened in 2026 is freaking crazy. But TNA did it to themselves, people. Carlos Silva and TNA did this to themselves. They rather played the card of WWE and lost themselves to WWE. I wouldn't bat a fucking eyelash WWE buys TNA. I wouldn't bat a fucking, leave any single of a doubt that WWE wants to call TNA and how they have a fourth brand to WWE. I was making the main roster, developmental, probably I'm gonna stick a brand developmental, but holy shit, I think that's a possibility in 2026 is by far insane. But it could be happening. Not sure how reputable the source is, but still. TNA has been getting shit luck recently. There's reasons behind the releases and stuff of like the departure of Sami Callihan, Tessa Blanchard, Tommy Dreamer, And who else still? Who else somebody lost left? Or it could be Mike Santana leaving very soon. And obviously, Leon Slater. Like, this company, what names are going to have left? Especially for the men's divisions. We like NXT all over again, people. So it kind of fits the criteria if you ask me, but still. But that's my initial thoughts, for sure, if you ask me to say at least, though. Now, so an update on Tessa Blanchard's TNA departure. Tessa Blanchard was let out of her TNA deal halfway through her current contract. It's kind of very interesting, if you're semi-interesting, if you ask me. Not that I'm a fan of Tessa, but still. More information regarding Tessa Blanchard leaving TNA. Fightful Selections reported in quote that Tessa Blanchard was about halfway through her 3-year deal before departing from TNA. Sources within TNA claimed that they were to rework her deal to offer more money due to CMLL booking her and paying her more, to say at least in quote. Now, I don't know if that's absolutely, I mean, it could be true, obviously. It's like the Fightful Select reporting. It's one of the bigger news outlets in professional wrestling right now. And so I don't know if what's the fact around that, to say at least. But Tessa Blanchard potentially already leaving TNA halfway through her contract is freaking insane. Terrible business from TNA. I think it'd be kind of good business when it comes to obviously background of Tessa Blanchard being, the stories around it. I'm not going to mention here. But I don't know, man. I don't know. Shall be pretty interesting if you ask me to Tessa Blanchard where she goes next. I honestly don't think it should be AEW. I don't think it should even be WWE. I don't know who will want Tessa. I really don't. She's a very good talent, don't get me wrong. But after all the the backlash she got, when a worse and recent memories of cancel culture, I don't know if anyone's going to want her under contract. If she's been better or not, I really don't know. It comes down what Tony Khan wants, or even Triple H, or what TKO wants, for sure. But that's my thoughts, and for sure, if you ask me to say at least, though. Moving on to AEW Forbidden Door 2026 plans. Still not locked in for some time days before the show. Yikes there, Tony Khan. Oh, yikes. According to Fightful Select, several talents with AEW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and CMLL said they were still in the dark about their Forbidden Door plans, such as this week's episode of AEW Dynamite. Some were not even sure whether they had a spot on the show. Fightful Select says that, quote, AEW Forbidden Door takes place next week, or in this case, Sunday, obviously. And a number of talent tell Fightful that they weren't sure what they're doing on the show as of this week's episode of Dynamite. Says, quote, some talent have said that they're not out of the ordinary and they'll find some of their matches on this week's show. This is definitely true. AEW makes a lot of matches this week, whether you're Dynamite or Collision. More particularly Collision. It was some weird business there, to say at least. But still, I don't want you to watch as much of Collision at all. From one talent that New Japan Pro Wrestling expected to be huge on Forbidden Door this year, as was Gabe Kidd. Sources in AEW we spoke to claim that there had been held some close to the best for the show, to say at least, in quote. Now, I don't know what else will be. Gabe Kidd, I think Gabe Kidd was injured, obviously. I think he's still injured with that torn bicep or something like that. He tore something. So he's been out for a while, obviously. One with the dogs and car cars. I don't feel like anyone freaking cares about the dogs, but still. Like, honestly, I don't know what they're going to be doing for Forbidden Door. I don't know who's off the card right now. I think, who else is off the card? Not Swerve. Swerve has a match with Will Ospreay. I'm trying to think if the women's matches be off the show. I'm not sure. Maybe like the CMLL talents. But I'm probably not buying AEW talents, I don't think, honestly. Unless it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to get a billion one different championships they have in that company, but still. Probably come to me eventually, to say at least. But I don't know. It's, honestly, if Forbidden Door is like, what, 8 matches on the card right now? That should be honestly fine. Just sit to confirm that card right there. But Tony Khan is like 9, 10, 11 matches on the front of the main card. You overload these shows for the sake of overloading the shows. I think 8 is honestly the max they should do. I don't think this, first of all, Forbidden Door is, it's not really a Forbidden Door anymore, people. But the only Forbidden Door we ever get is an AEW versus WWE thing. Which is never going to happen, obviously. As these bookers and promoters are stubborn as fuck. Ain't gonna happen, never even means it's necessary. With that, there's like no Forbidden Door. You might not call it for Forbidden Door. You might as well call it just the AEW versus New Japan bragging rights, something like that. WWE call it back in the days and stuff like that. But that's my thoughts on the story, though, if you ask me to say at least. And your final piece of wrestling news, getting to this day in wrestling history, and getting out of here for the evening. FTR, Dax Harwood, and Castro stepping away from professional wrestling. Taken to Instagram, Dax Harwood said FTR has been pushing at all full speed since 2014 and never really took any time for themselves. He says, unquote, since in December of 2014, a revival, FTR, Dawson, Dash, Dax and Cash, or you want to call us, we've had the pedal to the floor. Aside from my bicep tear in 2017, we've taken no time away from the jobs we dreamed of. Having physically and mentally, we both became exhausted, unquote. There's definitely fair, like, people are saying, like, either they're retiring or they're done with professional wrestling. Like, no, they're not going to be done yet. It's just they're taking a break. That's fair indeed. FTR, I don't think FTR has a break since coming in AEW. You guys just freaking insane, man. Like I said, the only time they took off was when Dax got hurt, obviously, in 2017 with a torn bicep. Like, they didn't have a break since. Like, they've been on television non-stop, putting in the work and stuff like that. So I think they deserve a break and stuff, to say at least. But they're not retiring, people. Just to let you know, they're not retiring. FTR, Dax Harwood, and Cash Wheeler are not retiring, nor they're returning to WWE anytime soon. At least I don't have hope so, knock on wood. But what's beef for that tag team division to say? It's nothing, I know, right? But that's my thoughts on the story, if you ask me to say at least. And finally, one for your Cedesxcyrus show for your Monday, June 22nd, 2026 on YouTube, Cedesxcyrus, and all audio platforms, the Cedesxcyrus show. 2 things in this day in wrestling history. And starting with 2004, the year I was born. The go-home edition of Friday Night Smackdown before the Great American Bash edition was taped in Orlando, Florida. Chavo Guerrero won the Battle Royal to become the number 1 contender for the Cruiserweight Championship against Rey Mysterio. And the Undertaker defeated the United States Champion John Cena in a non-title match in the main event. That's basically like Vince McMahon and Triple H booking to this day, honestly. Even Tony Khan booking too. I doubt the Undertaker will be challenged for a U.S. title, obviously. Never happened, obviously. So from finally this day in wrestling history, 2009. Randy Orton retained the WWE Championship against Triple H in a last man stand match on Monday Night Raw from Green Bay, Wisconsin. But both competitors were unable to answer the final 10 count. That is this day in wrestling history. And as always, thank y'all for watching your Cedesxcyrus show on YouTube, Cedesxcyrus, and all audio platforms of Cedesxcyrus show. Your Cedesxcyrus show for your Monday, June 22nd, 2026. Hopefully, knock on wood. I can have your NFC North 2026 predictions video or upload obviously out tomorrow on YouTube. The Cedesxcyrus YouTube channel, to say at least. And it won't be a Cedesxcyrus show tomorrow, obviously, because obviously Mondays for Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, to say at least. Anyways, enough talking. Until next time, I trust stuff from next time, everybody. Peace and love, everybody. I'm out here. Love y'all big time, to say at least.